Vet some. Stay in the fight.
Hello, America. Welcome back to VetSum. Brian Lynch here with Dennis Spohn, founder at Veteran AI. Veteran AI is a veteran-owned company that is ensuring our fellow veterans receive the benefits they have earned and the support that they deserve. Dennis is a 6-year veteran of your United States Navy, served as a petty officer first class in the nuke ET community. Dennis, it is a pleasure to have you on today. Thanks for joining us.
I was going to say, thanks for having me, Brian.
So Veteran AI, you're using AI to help veterans not only get their disability done properly, but also for their duration of, well, I won't say the duration, but pursuant to that, after they get their disability to where they want to, you're also using it to help them get the additional support they deserve. How does the company work? And tell us how you put it all together.
Yeah, so the long and short about Veteran AI is that we basically pulled in as much publicly available data out there about the VA process. And in my opinion, when it comes to VA disability, the number one thing that's most important for success is basically access to knowledge. Okay,
Right.
a lot of vets go out and they try to do a ton of research and they get stuck in this research loop. They never submit a claim. And what we wanted to do was to be able to give that knowledge directly to people, or say, hey, don't worry, our machine is going to take care of that. You don't need to worry about it. And we can output exactly what you need. And the whole idea with that is that it gets vets to submit a claim that they're confident in. Okay, because I personally think, I know we had this discussion before we got on, but I personally think every vet should be submitting a disability claim. You are not the same for the most part when you get out as when you got in. And we wanted to make that whole thing, the whole process of VA disability far easier. And how it got started was pretty much me. I was like, hey, I want to submit a VA disability claim. I went to my local VSO, who I'm a big advocate of. Go to your local VSOs. I think they are a very good resource. They're free. So if you haven't heard of them, go check them out. And when I went there, turned in all my paperwork, they more or less called everybody into the office and they're like, this is really good. How'd you do all this? Of course, I was like, yeah, I used AI to help me write things, to do
Right.
research, and everything else, just to generate all the documents the VA was asking for. And I sat down, talked to a few of the guys. What's the average person that comes into your office? Like, what's their claims look like? What things are they lacking? What things are you lacking? Things like that. And that's kind of when the light bulb started going off that, hey, this is a problem that people are facing. And I went home, whipped up what I like to consider like a PowerPoint app. It basically was just, click button, type in something, click button, type in something, and then it would output basically a personal statement for people. That's where we started off with. And I showed it to the VSO officers there. And they were like, I would pay $5 every time I click that button. So at that point, I knew, okay, this is something that could actually go out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got something. People are willing to pay for it. And I think the most important part of all this is one of the few opportunities in at least business where you have a chance not only to, make a good product and make money off of it, but more importantly than that, the benefit it has for our fellow service members is huge. Okay. Again, the idea is we're giving people access to the knowledge so they can go and manage and execute their own disability claims by themselves. And that's huge, in my opinion.
So, Dennis, what were these open source like Copilot and ChatGPT tools that you used, and have you since created anything proprietary from an AI perspective?
From an AI perspective, no. To put it in short, to train a LLM, or I should say to make from scratch an LLM, is it's a very expensive process. Let's put it that way. So that's something we're not too terribly interested in right now. We are interested in, and we do a little bit of fine tuning of models to make models a little bit more applicable. In terms of the data, yes, everything was available publicly to anybody at any time. The biggest thing that we did is with our Nexus letters. So we went out and we got the entirety, and I literally mean the entirety of the NIH library.
Right.
And we put that onto basically a knowledge base for AI to be able to make what are called Nexus letters for people. And again, just for the viewers who may not know what that is, it's a document that you don't always need to submit to the VA. But if you do, it basically says, hey, your service caused your condition, basically. That's what a Nexus letter is. The important part for a Nexus letter is that it's backed by medical research. So that's what we did. We went out again, got all the research, And we used AI to be able to put together a well-crafted document with the idea that your primary care provider can go sign off on it, or can review and sign off on it. Where in the past, your options were ask your doctor and pray that they
Yeah,
knew
exactly.
knew what one was, which they most of the time don't,
Right.
or go spend $1,000.
Right.
That was your options back then, and now we're able to do that for $25.
Right. And
Um,
again, just to reiterate, you are a for-profit company. We don't want to
right.
mislead anybody, but you do have an initiative. I'll assume it's a philanthropic initiative. You correct me if I'm wrong, but you are giving away 5,000 memberships. There's a fundraiser going on to get you there, but you are giving away 5,000 memberships to Veteran AI for lifetime. Is that correct?
So I think you got it. So basically, the lifetime memberships are for basically that's for like our fundraising to go out and hire additional developers.
Right. Right.
What we are doing though, to that point right there, we have a Discord, and again, I'm sure we can find a way to get the link in this. In Discord, are giving away literally, you could sign up for a month for free, and you could cancel that same month. I don't care.
Gotcha.
And we have basically infinite of those. There's no
Gotcha.
cap on that, but the 5,000 lifetime ones, those are specific for people that more or less are those early adopters that see the benefit that this could have for other people. And the short story is the people that did buy those so far, um, have helped out tremendously. Like I was able to go out and hire, veteran developers to actually join the company and actually
Right.
start making product. And without that kind of support early on, I mean, it comes out of my piggy bank. If not, like
Yeah.
I'm not a very rich man.
Of course.
I can promise you
Understood.
that.
Understood. So tell me a little bit about your team. What percentage-wise? How many are veterans? How big is your dev team itself? Have you got folks all the way up to the DevOps level? And what are their backgrounds as far as being programmers? I mean, is this what they've been doing forever? Did they all serve in the military and then come your way? How did the team come about?
Yeah, so at first it was just me. I'll be quite frank. It was, I've been, I'd say, more developing from a kind of like a self-taught aspect
Mm-hmm.
for probably 10, 15 years, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely knew what I was doing, but once I could get it's crazy once you start getting the people that are actually experts at something. So to answer your question real quick about the compositions, right now we really have about 3 people, plus some change, basically some additional consultants that kind of come on and come off as needed. But everybody's a veteran. 100%.
Right.
The company is 100% owned by veterans. We have no external funding from any kind of like VC funding, venture capital funding. So we are 100% owned and operated by veterans. The guys I've been hiring, again, have been, this has been their job for the last decade. They one was a Navy guy, another one was 2 were Army, and that's all they did. It was either development, one was cybersecurity as well.
Right, but all CS majors kind of and learned
Yeah,
and went
yeah.
that way eventually, right?
Yeah, I definitely try to, that's not something I really want to skimp on is, good developers. But again, the perk of the company is that we also have a pretty big social benefit for people. And we've had pretty easy time getting, I would say, pretty high talent to join the team just because, again, it's a lot easier to go to work when you're helping people every day, vice working for like a Hulu or something like that.
Yeah, and they also, but they get it. They serve,
Yeah.
right? And you don't have to explain all those weird intricacies that occur when they're, I don't know if your devs are talking to people. Usually devs are not allowed to speak to end users, but if you haven't
We
learned,
on Discord, you go talk to them.
oh, I
Anytime.
know, but it's different
Yeah,
with this. That's what I'm saying. If you have a veteran, you'll allow that. Usually, I never let my devs speak to humans. It just never went well. That's
yeah,
another story for another time. But the fact that they are veterans, they can talk it and walk it. And I think too, there's probably an added value there that you're getting devs that are getting proof of concept feedback daily. And they're able to iterate based on not only conversations but just things other veterans are telling them about the tool.
yep, yep.
So
I was gonna say I think our company's superpower basically at this point is that we're building up the community. We get direct feedback from veterans, what's working, what's not working, and the front end guy, he's sitting there, he's just taking notes like, hey, this And it's very minute things like, oh, hey, this person was a little confused on how to do this. And they didn't even say anything to that, effect, but he picked up on,
Of
hey,
course.
that's something I need to go work on.
Of course.
And to me, that's hugely powerful. And then, like you said, just having the ability to understand this is a pain point for so many people, and they've done it too. They've done VA claims themselves. They know what the pain points are already. And it's
Right.
a lot easier to translate them pain
Yeah.
points to computer code
Yeah,
then at that
and it's
point.
immediate. There's no
Yep.
explanation required. So let's talk about how veteran AI differentiates itself, because it's a crowded space. You can't be on Instagram, Facebook for the older vets or anything without seeing some veteran stand there and tell you either how he bought 40 properties on his VA loan, or
Hmm.
how he's figured out and cracked the code and all that. There are a lot of unscrupulous players in the market that are doing a lot of things that are, quite frankly, hurting veterans more than helping. Tell us how veteran AI is different and how you set yourselves above all of the other nonsense.
Yeah, so I'd say the biggest differentiator is how we started. So when I first started, outside of going to the VSO and whipping up a quick, little PowerPoint app, the next thing I started doing was making calls to as many VSO directors as would take my call. That was
Yeah.
not easy. Did have one guy, he referred me, again, just not that I don't like to name drop, but he did refer me to a law firm out of California that does training for service organizations, and they helped me a ton.
Mhm.
They literally gave their time for free to me to say, hey, this is what a Nexus letter is. These are the things that go into it. This is a personal statement. These are the things that go into it.
Well, these are good
And
guys. You can name them if you
yeah.
want. If they're doing good things, let's give them a shout out. There's
Oh
nothing wrong
yeah,
with that.
it's the people over at the Katrina law firm.
Yeah.
So it was anyways, they did a huge help for me. And again, they are still to this day somebody I can at least call and say, hey, what do I need to do to make this product better? And the big thing I always try to emphasize was I don't want to hurt people unnecessarily, like by accident. I want to make something for a veteran and then be affected negatively by the output. Okay, so that was a big thing. Any big changes we have to that process, we always feed it by them and say, hey, is this something that's actually going to help people? Is it going to hurt people? Why does it hurt people? And then we make changes based on that feedback. So that's number one right there. I see a lot of people, like you said, that are doing similar things that just don't meet the requirements or the expectations of the VA. So that was the big thing right there. Two, I really wanted to partner with people who had the same values that I wanted the company to have,
Mhm.
which are, I'm not here to sell you snake oil. I'm not here to push something down you and say, hey, you need to buy this. Absolutely. I'm here to help veterans. And again, he may not know it, but Clayton Sims over at the CivDiv was, the guy that took it basically a cold LinkedIn message. It literally was a cold LinkedIn message. He got with me, met me one time. I showed him the product, and his words were, this is at least, I've seen 10 of these things so far. And he's like, yours is 10,000 times better than anybody else's I've seen.
So that's why I emailed you.
Yeah.
Same thing.
So yeah, he was like, "Hey, this is actually good at what it does." We had one dinner in DC together, and he's like, "Hey, we get this one extra feature in there." He's like, "I'll start pushing videos about it," because he's like, "This is something." Again, he's the same kind of person. He was like, "I don't want money from this. This is not something I want you to pay me for." He's like, "This is just something that could actually help out the community
Yeah.
a lot." So more or less, I think those are our two superpowers. We consulted with real experts, and two, the company, the founders, and the team all have the same ethos that we're here to help veterans. We're not here to exploit veterans and be another leech on the basically the VA disability system.
Right.
We're trying to empower veterans and give more back than we're taking.
Yeah. Legitimacy and credibility is paramount in this community, Dennis. And if you don't have it, you're dead in the water in a heartbeat. And I know you guys don't have that issue in any way, shape, or form. Why do you think the VA isn't doing this?
So I think personally, they're doing it in the sense that they have AI helping the raters on their end basically adjudicate claims. I don't think it exists on the veteran side for the reason that the VA is the insurance company and the product is a way to make the insurance company pay more at the end of the day. That's kind of how I view it. I do think they're generally interested in AI over there, but not from the veteran perspective. They're there from the efficiency gain on the basically the VA Raider side of the
Kind of
house.
violates Lincoln's statement that's carved on the wall outside of that facility, does it not?
I think it would be a great help personally
Yeah.
because, like I said before, not everybody gets out and either has the time, energy, or education to articulate themselves in the way that the VA expects. Like I was just on my Discord 2 weeks ago, probably, and I was talking to one of the smartest VA coaches. He works at the VA, does training there. He's probably the smartest guy I know now at this point. I asked him
Yeah.
all sorts of questions, and he basically was like, "Hey, I saw one of your statements, and then again, we made changes because of the things he said." He was like, "It said this, and it's very, very small little wording like this, but this would automatically get denied by me."
Yeah. Yeah.
And that right there, it's the ability of everybody out there, all veterans, to be able to articulate themselves to that level and not mess that up. It's just not. It's not feasible, basically.
It's impossible, Dennis. It's impossible. I don't care how well educated you are. I don't care what rank you were. I don't care how long you served. If you don't know this system, it's impossible. And you're exactly right. And to your point, there are some incredible people working at the VA,
Oh yeah.
we're very specific when we talk about the VA because we don't badmouth them, but they have hundreds of billions of dollars every year that they don't use. Now their tech stack is atrocious. I know you know this. I don't know if you've had a chance to dig
I
into
actually
it.
interviewed a few guys from the VA for
Yeah,
dead
and
spots.
it could be better and everything else, but I'll share with you what a friend of mine was telling me because he went through the whole process and used a law firm and figured out by hook and crook. Pretty sharp dude, my age too. He's not a younger veteran, but he said, "Hey, this veteran advocate office," and he gave me a couple of names and everything else, and we didn't want to use their names without their permission, so we didn't. But there are incredible people out there that are helping veterans. I remember years ago when I first signed up, I got a guy on the phone one time and he's like, "Well, hey, sir, do you have a premium account?" And I'm like, "What? I don't even know what that is." And he goes, "Well, if you get and I'm like, "Why do you do that? Why is any veteran getting premium service over another veteran? Why isn't it all the same?" That's neither here nor there because some bureaucrat made that decision at the 30,000-foot level. But
Yeah,
getting that premium level bumped me up to something else that somebody else looked at. There's another thing called, you know what the Quick Connect is?
I've heard of
When
it. Let
you
me
want to
Google it real
submit a
quick.
document, and because
Yeah.
if you go through that painful process on the VA website, e-benefits or whatever you're on, and it has,
Yeah.
if you want to send in a form, there's a process that you can email something. It's called Quick Connect. It goes right to where it's supposed to go, and then you get an email receipt, and then you look in your VA account, I don't know, a week or so later, and it's there.
Mhm.
Why is this a mystery? Why are we finding these things out along the ways? And I'm saying this rhetorically. I'm not actually asking
Oh
you a
no,
question.
I definitely get you, and that's
Yeah, but here's what he said, and this is what's important, and I want you to comment on this. He said, he said, for lack of a better term, this is absolute bullshit. This is our VA, okay? And not that the secretary doesn't matter. Doug Collins is a good guy. We've reached out to him. We're hopefully going to get him on soon to have a friendly conversation. We're not caustic like the media. We're here to tell veteran success stories and all of that. But there are men and women that served that have figured out the system, and I don't say that in a negative way. They have navigated the system properly to get themselves to the level of disability that they deserve, right?
Mhm.
Why did they have to do all that work, and why is the system not structured properly like a veteran AI or an easier process to use that's a lot more user friendly, right? And
Yeah.
yeah, I guess that's a question you can kind of run with. I mean, from what you guys have learned, and let me pose the question there and then you can add to it. What have you learned from the first iteration of veteran AI to today? And what have the changes been to your platform?
Yeah, so I think from a tech company standpoint, the number one, not always the number one thing, but it's probably top three on any tech company's UI, UX. So user
Right.
interface, user experience. And again, it started with nothing more than me in my attic. So we're actually pushing the update tomorrow at 2 o'clock Pacific time. So that will actually be the first time we actually have a professional person who actually knows what they're doing, making the UI and making it better. Um, and that's something I think to your point that the VA hasn't done. And I think it's not a hard thing. It's not AI, it's not LLMs and all that other machine learning. It's not none of that. It's understanding how people want to interact with your application, in this case the VA or veteran AI, and designing it such that it's easy to understand. So that's the number one thing I've taken personally from the feedback I get, is that I need to make this easier for people to use. Generally, people are happy with the output, but they don't know all the time what to do. So that was my number one priority when I was going out and hiring people. I'm like, I need to make this application more user friendly and more intuitive. And don't get me wrong, it's a never ending process. It will never be perfect. But from my perspective, that's the number one most important thing that I can work on, is making it accessible for anybody to be able to use it. From the VA side, I agree with you. Why does it? I forget. I think it was just a few days ago. I learned something about the VA, and I'm like, why is it hard for me, a pretty tech savvy guy, to use all the tools that the VA has? They do have them. It's just not where I expect them to be. It's not easy for me to find.
Right.
I mean, I just scheduled
It's
like
not a
a
precision weapon.
no. And I think I just was on a podcast recently. Again, I'm a pretty straight shooter. I'm not a very good marketing guy. And they said, "Hey, what's the one thing you would change if you were the VA, the king of the VA for a day?" And I'm like, "Well, if there's one thing and I got one day, I'm hiring the best UI guys and saying, hey, go out and make this thing better. Make the VA site better and
Yeah.
more user friendly for people, because that's the best, in my opinion. That's one of the easiest things that people could do, or the VA could do. Make it better, to make the
And
experience better for that
and
vet.
to your point from earlier, embracing AI, and just, I don't, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm assuming you're saving veterans a lot of time. I'm assuming
Mhm.
you're saving them a lot of aggravation and a ton of money.
Yeah. Yeah, then, for example, when it comes to Nexus letters, are the easiest one to calculate. Again, 500 to $1,000 for a Nexus letter. We've saved so far north of $10 million for veterans with just Nexus letters. And again, we've only been around for 6 months. So, that's money back into basically the veteran pocket.
Right.
And to me, that's the biggest win right there. That's what we're trying to accomplish. Yes, there's a time saving aspect to a lot of things, to generating statements for people, but I really want to see more of the billions, like we talked about earlier, the billions of dollars that exist going directly to veterans and not going to other organizations, basically.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, just investing in the tech stack and cleaning it up. And I don't know, I don't know how they run it. I don't know who the CIO is at the VA. I'm sure they have one. I would love to see what their sprint looks like. I would love to assess the tickets that are in the sprint, how often it's done, what the feedback dialogues look like. I know that I've known a lot of veterans that have, complained about certain things, and who's answering that, I don't know. I don't know if they're using AI and bots to file answers back. But again, this is our VA. It's our VA, and it's our VA for life for all of us that are
That's
involved
true.
in it for life. And
Yeah.
God bless the secretary and the team that he's got in there now. They're getting hit pretty bad with the rift that's going on and everything else, which makes it even more important for, the older veterans like myself and those that are even older to see. I will tell you this, that VA healthcare, the changes that have occurred just in the last 5 years are monumental. And the manner in which they communicate, the ability to not only use the app, but you set an appointment, you get a text message, you get that postcard in the mail. If you're working on your disability, you get Lidos, QTC, or whatever. They're communicating with you, they're emailing you, they're FedExing packages, which I don't agree with. I think it's a phenomenal waste of money there, but the effort in the outreach is better. I think what they need to do is they need to fast forward into the 2025 area where we're embracing technology full throttle. It's not easy to do. It's the largest healthcare organization in the country, and it is an enormous bureaucracy, as you know. But the ROI on the advances in technology, again, particularly in the AI space, are phenomenal, and they could see even greater changes in a shorter period of time.
Oh
I
yeah.
think.
No, I generally agree with you. I think fully utilizing all the tools that exist right now um, would go a very, very long way, both on from the disability side, both from the rating perspective and the veteran side.
Right. Right.
But yeah, I agree with you with the VA healthcare. Actually, I
Yeah.
think
Big time.
generally, I mean, I go there all the time. It's perfectly fine. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's much better than it used to be. I can
Oh
tell you
yeah.
that. So, Dennis, let's talk cost structure. When a veteran signs up, I know you allow them to go month to month and everything else. What is it costing a veteran, and how is that pricing structure? How is it set up?
Yeah, so outside of the lifetimes, with again, I want to emphasize those are more for people if you kind of believe in this and you want to support us. That's the best way to do it. That's $200. Never get charged again, no matter what we make. Outside of that, we basically operate on like I would say a more traditional SaaS company, a subscription model. So we have a free package, and then we also have a $25 a month, and then also we bump that up to basically a 6 month reoccurring subscription. And we picked the 6 months specifically because that's about the average time a VA claim, that basically the life cycle of VA claim. So you can have it for 6 months, use it, and then come back when you need another VA disability claims submitted or something like that.
Right.
So yeah, $25 gets you, I would argue, effectively infinite amount. It's not infinite amount, but it's all you should need to submit your claim. We did try our best to make sure that we're getting you as many statements as you need, as many nexus letters as a person could reasonably need, access to chatbots and things like that. Basically, any tool that you could need to be able to execute the claim on your own. And if you wanted to do it within a month, you probably could,
Mm-hmm.
with basically the quotas we give everybody.
Right.
But yeah, that's the short story. We do also for service organizations out there, we basically give them much higher caps effectively for their service officers as well.
You've got a couple quarters under your belt. What are your success stories? Tell me a little bit about what's worked, hiccups if you've had a few, I'm sure you have, and then how that has changed the app in the UI UX experience.
Yeah, so I'd say our number one success story so far, again, it's really cool. This is why if you're a tech founder out there and you're listening, or a vet that wants to start their own tech company, and it's got a community element to things, make sure you get a Discord going, or make sure you get some way to keep people engaged and keep people. You want to be able to talk to, at the end of the day, your customer, but we want to talk to the veterans. And they submitted their claim pretty much right when we came out, and 3-4 months go by and they posted it. I don't know if it's on my website or not, but I did make a post about it. He was the first guy that responded and said, hey, because of basically the assistance of just asking people questions in Discord and also just using veteran AI and all these other tools that are at his disposal, he's like, I'm not 100% P&T. And we did all that he bought a lifetime. He was one of the guys that was like, no, this is a great idea. So for $200, could have been 25, but my point is he got all that help for effectively nothing, especially when you talk about he's now 100% P&T. So that was probably one of my coolest success stories. And every time those come up, I make sure, like in our morning meeting with the devs, I always say, hey, these are the people that have reached back out and said, we helped them. And again, we did that for $25. Like to me, that's the most powerful thing in my opinion, because we have alleviated this person's struggle with the VA to some extent. That keeps me motivated. Hope it keeps the guys motivated too.
Of course. You've got one. I've got your endorsements up right now, and a game changer for OCONUS veterans. Outside the contiguous United States, that's for veterans that don't live in the United States anymore. It sounds like Wayne was pretty fired up when he got his claim taken care of.
Yeah, he was one of the first people. One of the first people that was probably like 3 or 4 days after we launched. He reached out and basically said the same thing. And this is what really kept me going early on when we first launched. We'll talk about a hiccup here real soon. I can't tell you, like 3 days after we launched Veteran AI, that was their first video, I should say, after the CivDiff posted something. The amount of emails, messages, and things like that were like, this is the best thing. Even if it's not the perfect solution right now, it is a much needed solution for the veteran community. So many people were like, hey, great job. I bought it just because I wanted to help you.
Yeah.
No other reason. I don't need it. Don't care. I hope it helps you. I hope, you go out and make a really great product. And he was one of those guys. I believe he's over in Germany. I'm not 100% sure, but he was like, hey, this is a tool I'm going to bring up to all the vets that are over here because we don't have access to the resources that a veteran in the United States would have, which is true. But yeah, to briefly talk about the hiccups, I think it was day 4. Day 4, I think the server went down, and that basically runs all the back end stuff. So that was a big pain in the butt. I think we basically recovered pretty darn quick. It only took, maybe like an hour or two. But again, the amount of change that's happened since then is it's basically unrecognizable from what it was to what it is now.
Yeah.
Without going too crazy. Basically, unless Amazon goes down, there's really no way you could take a veteran AI down, more or less. It's just, we go to bed soundly at night. I know when I was basically talking to our backend dev, I'm like, I want you to be able to go to bed every weekend and never have to worry about the server crashing. Because if there's something wrong with it, we can just roll it back or it just won't crash. That's what I want you to do. I want you to always have a weekend. And that's how we build now, is so that way we can all go to bed easy, knowing that the application is going to work no matter what people throw at it.
So I'm assuming we redefined our BCDR plan after that little hiccup there.
Yeah. I was going to say it was not fun. I'm not going to lie. It was not a fun day, but again,
growing pains. It happens,
growing
man.
pains.
Look, you reacted to a setback, and you got back in the game, or you stay in the fight.
Yeah.
That's what we always say here on VetSum. And you're dealing with a community of people that understand that perfectly. You restored service, and you got right back to work. That's what's expected of you, and you did it. So, Dennis, the tech thing, right, for a lot of older veterans is a problem. I've been out for 25 years now. I was out before OEF, OIF, Desert Storm, Somalia, that type of thing. What do you do for older vets? Because there's a bunch of them out there. This gentleman I was referring to earlier is my age, late 50s. I don't think he's using Discord. He wouldn't understand what a sprint was if I had to. He doesn't even know what BCDR means. But what capability is available for veterans that are not, even if they're not older, but just not tech savvy? How are they would have to get on the app, or do you have a web-based model?
So we're all web-based. We may make an application, a mobile application down the road.
Oh, so you don't have an app yet. So it's all done on the website. Okay.
Yeah, it's all just website. You can use your phone just fine, especially with the new update. There's a few iOS issues that we've been dealing with, but we've fixed those with the new one that should be pushed tomorrow. This was surprising to me. The average age of a person using our application is actually 58.
Wow.
Wow.
Good for you, man. That's incredible.
And so I view that, and again, I don't want people to take this the wrong way, but I view that as we've at least done, I'll say, good enough for now, because I have a high bar for myself and what I want to make. I personally want this to be like an Apple kind of application where it's very, very intuitive, and that's the end goal. But the fact that we had a lot of people using this application, I mean, I talked to, 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago now, a person out in California, 80 years old, and he goes to other veterans in his area and uses our app to help them with their VA disability claims.
Nice.
I guess the point is we've made it at least easy enough for people who didn't grow up in the tech era to be able to use the application.
Right.
So I do consider that a win, but I do think there's a lot of work that we still need to do. I still get messages once in a while like, hey, I couldn't figure out how to use this.
Not too shabby for 6 months in the game. I'll tell you that much. Not too shabby at all. So, Dennis, how do we help? We're going to continue to help spread the word. We'll get this posted in a matter of days. Is Veteran AI looking for additional investors? Are you looking for partners? What is it that we can help you, short of getting the VA secretary to pull you in and have you sit in his CIO's office for a month and a half? What is it that we can do to help you continue to succeed?
The number one thing out there, the end goal of Veteran AI is that we want Veteran AI to be a free application for vets to use. The way that gets done is if the VFWs of the world, the DAVs of the world, the American Legions of the world, they work with us. I am not interested in replacing you. I am not interested in being another consulting company. I'm interested in being a tool that those organizations can use to, instead of submitting 450,000 claims, they're submitting 4.5 million claims a year. And I can do that. I can connect every veteran in this entire country today to a service organization, but I need the support. So that's, if there's one thing I needed, that is what I want from the community out there. Is if you found value in our tool, go to your VSOs out there, go to your DAVs, whoever it is, and say, hey, I use this thing. They want to work with you. Figure out how to get in contact with this guy. I'm very willing to work with these organizations. I want to work with them. I want this to be a free product for people to use. But again, the reality of the world is I have payroll and mouths to feed. For now, it is something that veterans are paying for. But a long-term goal, I wanted it to be something that's basically part of the process for veterans.
Indeed.
Hopefully,
Hopefully, part
number
of
one
the
thing.
process.
Again, if you get Doug in here, though.
I think we
I'll take
need
that.
to. I think get you in there is
Yeah.
more like it. His schedule's a little absurd, but we'll definitely help you push it forward. Dennis, we're proud of you. We appreciate your time today. It's been a pleasure to have you on to discuss your success and helping not only Veteran AI but the veteran community stay in the fight.
I was going to say, thanks for having me on, Brian. It was a lot of fun.
My pleasure. So there you have it, America. Dennis Spohn of Veteran AI, reminding us all how to stay in the fight in the veteran cause. The organization is Veteran AI. Please take a look, and we will continue to evangelize on your part. Dennis, thanks again, and we'll see you all next time on VetSum.
Yep, appreciate it.